Now, also often packaged historically in this dualist account is an evaluative dimension, a judgment that if we're looking at the psychological and the physical sides here and deciding which of these is more important, which one is more significant, in which is the essence of what it is to be a human being properly found, the dualist will argue that it's the psychological side of our nature, not the physical side of our natures, that is the more significant here. So I'll put that point down. The psychological is the more significant, right, or essential part of human nature. And this is playing off the insight that we have that our psychological side is very important to who we are, what we think, what we feel, and all of the goals and dreams and aspirations and our conceptions of what our meaning, what a meaningful life is. All of this is stuff that goes on the psychological side of our nature. And it's also playing off on the notion that if we compare ourselves to the other species that exist in the world, they seem to be more straightforwardly physical being with lesser developed or less significant psychological lives. So the argument then can be that the physical side of our nature is what we share with the animals, is what we share with the physical world, and what then sets us apart as the distinctive kinds of beings that we are as the psychological. And so we should identify ourselves primarily with the psychological side of our nature, and therefore the correlate view being that the physical is the less significant or the less important, right, part of our identity here. Sometimes packaged with the dualist view is the notion that there's a conflict between these two, that the psychological and the physical being different kinds of things. They therefore have different needs, different aspirations, different goals. And so at any given time, the human being is tugged or pulled in different directions. The psychological side of us wants to go in this direction to realize its true nature and its identity. Meanwhile, the physical is also clamoring for attention. It wants to go off in this direction and achieve its destiny. But those two different directions mean that one has a conflict, and one has to make a choice then whether to go in the physical side or in the psychological side. All right, that's dualism, and is one of the main historical theories about human nature. It's probably the oldest, and if we just did things numerically, there have been more people historically who have signed on to some form of dualism over the course of human history than any other theory. But it has received a great deal of competition among scientific investigators, philosophical investigators who will give more naturalistic accounts of what it is to be the human being. And then particularly as we've gotten into the modern world, dualism has declined, although it's still a significant contender, and it's perhaps true to say that more naturalistic approaches to the human being, at least among scientific investigators, is the dominant approach here.